It's been a few years since the FGO Babylonia anime wrapped up, with lovable characters, stunning animation, and a pretty satisfying conclusion. The anime really marked a new step for fans who crave seeing legendary figures from history or mythology turned into anime characters with insane powers. In Babylonia, we follow Fujimaru, a master with almost zero mage ability, trying to survive and complete his mission. We see how he acts in the anime. But honestly, I wasn't a big fan of how he was portrayed. No hate to Fujimaru himself. I just didn't really like how the anime showed his actions, or rather, how the anime director interpreted them. I feel like he just doesn't do much. See, the whole point of Fujimaru is that he's a nobody. He's not a proper mage, so he struggles a lot in this world, full of overpowered beings. What makes him stand out is his guts. He throws himself into danger and acts on sheer will. And yeah, in the anime, he does show some bravery, he does act on his own. But it still feels lacking. For me, the anime really toned it down. Like sure, he moves the story along, but I kinda hate how little he actually struggles. That's why people sometimes say he feels like he has major plot armor. But I can say that because I've read the manga, not just the Babylonia chapter, and in the manga, his struggles hit way harder. He acts so gutsy it's borderline crazy from a normal human perspective. He talks in such a casual way that it feels oddly pure sometimes. Yeah, maybe that's the biggest difference between the manga and the anime. In the anime, he feels like a good boy. In the manga, that good boy side is reflected in how he thinks. But when it comes to how he talks or acts, he's kinda insane. You really feel how exhausting everything is for him because he can't rely on advanced magecraft. And when he does try something mage-like, it's super intense because mentally and physically, he's not built for it. So yeah, this time I want to compare how Fujimaru's actions in Babylonia are shown differently in the anime and manga. I might also throw in a few iconic scenes from this chapter. You can decide which version you like the most. Alright, let's start by comparing the team setup. One of the biggest differences is in the manga. Fujimaru and Mash don't head to Babylonia alone. They actually start their journey from Chaldea with 3 other servants, Kiyohime, Arjuna, and Hector. Each of them got summoned to Chaldea as kind of a bonus summon, like the ones we usually get at the end of a chapter in the game. You know how, after finishing a singularity, you get a free servant. The game calls it a chapter clear reward. Turns out in the manga, they explain that it's actually Merlin helping these heroic spirits sneak their way into Chaldea to support us. Meanwhile, in the anime, it's just Fujimaru and Mash from the beginning. So, yeah, right from the start, the setup is super different. The manga skips some battles, like the first fight with Enkidu and the one at the ziggurat. It's kind of funny how the ziggurat battle gets skipped and turned into a comedy bit instead. This works because the manga characters are way more expressive. I personally love the art style. The artist gives each character unique, sharp eyes and intense expressions that really make them stand out. That alone helps avoid the same face syndrome. In the anime though, a lot of characters have similar eye shapes, so for that, I personally prefer the manga's art. From there, things line up with the anime. They end up working as laborers in Uruk and all that. Now, this is not a big thing, but one of the most entertaining parts of the manga here is seeing how excited Mash is about doing manual labor. It's just so cute, seeing her all giddy about doing outdoor work. Now here's a small but important difference. In the anime, Fujimaru doesn't know Mash's life is nearing its end when they head to Babylonia. But in the manga, he does know. That changes his whole mindset. Fujimaru ends up relating Mash's short lifespan to the people of Uruk, who are also facing their end with the apocalypse. I think I like how the manga handles Mash's fate problem better, because it lets Fujimaru come to terms with it step by step, slowly but surely. Also, the way Mash's health condition is brought up bit by bit across Camelot, Babylonia, and Solomon works as a constant reminder to the viewers that she's literally dying. That said, this isn't a huge story change, but I really like how the manga builds Fujimaru's character more deeply and emotionally through these smaller, more personal moments. Another thing I really love about the manga is how we get to see more of the interactions between the heroic spirits. Like, they actually know each other's legend. Mash, as a shielder, really looks up to Leonidas because of his legend about defending with just 300 men. Leonidas, in turn, admires Hector for being a legendary war commander. Then there's Ushi and Benkei, who are always joking around since they basically worked in the same area and era. In the anime, Mash and Leonidas are close, but it never really shows the admiration between them as fellow shield users. Well, I guess they're close, but it's more like an old man giving advice to the younger kids. Now let's get to the mission to investigate Here, Fujimaru's way of fighting is way different. In the anime, he mostly fights by giving mana boosts or using command spells to support a servant. He usually hides behind Mash and gives out orders, but in the manga, he fights pretty rough, or borderline rough. He uses small tricks from his mystic code and basic magecraft to support his team or even himself. In the fight against Jaguarman, Fujimaru is supporting Ushi. And when Ushi accidentally drops her guard, Fujimaru instantly forces her to dodge using emergency evade. Then, once she's ready to strike, he uses the plug skill to teleport her straight into battle, and she slashes right at Jaguarman. See, that's kinda cool, but rough at the same time. In the anime, this fight is handled by Mash and Anna instead, while Fujimaru stays in the back giving out commands. He might throw out a heal spell or two, but that's about it. That was to show how different the fighting is in both versions. The anime often takes a more passive approach, while in the manga, Fujimaru is much more active. Now let's move on to the next part, the Persian Gulf. Honestly, I can't really compare Fujimaru here because the circumstances in both versions are totally different. In the anime, Gilgamesh just genuinely wants to check out the observatory and take a little trip. But in the manga, while he does want to visit the observatory, he's also using it as bait to lure out Enkidu by purposely going far with only Fujimaru and Mash. From the outside, it looks the same, but Gil's intention is different, and that leads to two very different interactions. Watch. At the Persian Gulf, Enkidu suddenly appears and attacks Fujimaru. In the anime, Enkidu is surprised by Gilgamesh's appearance, who ends up saving Mash. They clash briefly, and then Enkidu retreats. In the manga, after Mash blocks Enkidu, Gilgamesh shows up to help. Here, it's revealed that Gil actually suspected someone might attack since he was traveling with just 2 young people. Fujimaru picks up on this right away when Gil says, "As expected." Without hesitation, Fujimaru gives Mash an enhancement boost, launching her toward Enkidu and totally interrupting Gilgamesh's fight. This made Gilgamesh angry, but Fujimaru gets even angrier. He actually snaps at Gilgamesh for using Mash like a pawn. That's a huge difference from the anime. Well, I'm pretty sure that if in the anime Gilgamesh actually had the same intention as in the manga, Fuji would have been mad too. On the way back, both versions show everyone just silently riding the carriage, but for totally different reasons. In the anime, Gilgamesh looks upset, or maybe even sad after realizing that Enkidu really has come back as an enemy. But in the manga, the silence is because Fuji and Gilgamesh are both mad at each other, though eventually, Gil kinda makes up for it by showing them the view of Mesopotamia's hills to cheer them up. That moment is honestly my favorite difference between the manga and anime Babylonia arcs. Fujimaru's gutsy attitude really shines more often in the manga, and it just makes his character feel way more raw and real. Another moment where Fujimaru shows off his gutsy side is when he gets the Tablet of Destiny. In the anime, he reads it and instantly falls asleep. Then he has a dream about Solomon leading people while laughing, and there's this eerie feeling of hatred coming from the other side. He wakes up, talks briefly with Merlin and Anna, and that's it. In the manga though, it's a bit more intense. Fujimaru chants a spell to the tablet, and that's when the dream starts. This time, it leans more into the feelings of the other side. Like, you can really feel how much that other side cares. I'm calling it the other side to avoid spoilers for people who haven't reached the Temple of Solomon yet. Anyway, Fujimaru wakes up pale and visibly shaken. Gilgamesh immediately questions him, and Fujimaru confirms that the dream was about Solomon and someone who felt completely broken and in despair. When Gilgamesh asks how he feels about that person's sense of justice, Fujimaru doesn't sugarcoat it. He straight up says it's bullshit, and that person was being impudent. I got chills. He basically calls the big bad guy of this world a whiny person, and says that their act of righteousness is nothing but bullshit. For me, that's another solid point for the manga version. Next up, the part where Fujimaru fights Quetzalcoatl. Honestly, it plays out pretty similarly in both the anime and manga. The main difference is in how Fujimaru challenges Quetz. In the manga, he straight up tells her their plan and their target, like he's openly asking for a fight. Both versions end the same way. Fujimaru shows his guts by jumping from a crazy height. But I personally prefer the manga version. In the anime, he asks Ishtar to fly him up high so he can fall down. But in the manga, he takes off his uniform, uses basic magecraft to create a hurricane, and launches himself into the air. Now, a reminder that Fuji here can't use body enhancement magic on himself. He just creates a tiny hurricane and rides it to jump high. Once he's high enough, he just free falls. I don't know. There's something cool about seeing Fujimaru use whatever he's got before relying on others. But I also really like the fact that Dr. Roman scolds him for disobeying in the anime. I mean, he should have known by now that Fujimaru's way of thinking is different, but it's still nice to see that the big bro figure is still there. Now, there's another change I really liked besides Fujimaru's actions and behavior. It's the moment where they recruit Ishtar to the Chaldea crew. The plan is still the same: bribe her with treasure. But the big difference is, the one doing the bribing is Arjuna. We get to see the most serious guy trying to negotiate with a goddess who has one of the worst personalities imaginable, Ishtar. I mean, even Gilgamesh himself said they're the worst possible match. And because of that, she immediately rejects the offer and just beats the crap out of him. What makes it great is how Arjuna refuses to give up. He offers her the money he earned working in Uruk, and even threatens to haunt her for eternity if she says no. It's way different from the anime, where the whole thing plays out as a comedy, and the treasure bribe works out super smoothly. In the manga, Arjuna basically has to fight tooth and nail to convince her to join. Also, I love the way they draw Ishtar in the manga. She looks scary and elegant at the same time. You can tell just by the art that this goddess is both classy and bratty. Then there's the fight against Eresh Kigal. The events are more or less the same, but the manga version is way more expressive, and I loved it. In the anime, the fight is cool, but it feels like your typical good guy versus bad guy moment. Fujimaru still has that soft, good boy energy. You see, the point of the Eresh Kigal fight is that she wants Fujimaru to understand her feelings and basically agree with her ranting. The fight plays out with Mash and Gilgamesh attacking, while Fujimaru gives commands and calming Eresh down using his words, his good boy words. But in the manga, it's totally different. Fujimaru is visibly pissed. He doesn't hold back, no sugarcoating. He even started the fight by throwing Gilgamesh's body behind Eresh Kigal using his emergency evade skill, then had Gilgamesh fire a shot at her from behind. Since Gilgamesh is technically dead and in the underworld, Fujimaru treats him like a heroic spirit, meaning he can use all the usual support skills and tricks. And the most savage part is that when Eresh Kigal asks him how he feels about her constant suffering, Fujimaru just goes, "I don't know. I have no interest in your pain." And then, when she's about to unleash one of her noble phantasms, he casually tells Mash to move in, and throws a bunch of bomb jewels straight into Eresh's face. Gosh, I absolutely love this no-nonsense version of him. Alright, that's it for now. It's already been 15 minutes, and I don't want to bore you guys. There's still a lot more I could talk about, but that'll be for another video. Plus, the manga isn't even finished yet, so let's just wait and see how it goes. For now, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you next time.